Hey everyone, welcome back. So, it's known, we got a release date for the new war. It's dropping on December 15th. I can't wait for it, and this is gonna be a long 2 weeks. But seriously, if you haven't seen the official cinematic yet, it's down in the description, go watch it. So what was revealed in this dev stream? Honestly, it was less than I thought, but let's us speculate a bit also. First things first, the new war itself, we get flashbacks of our time with Lotus and we see the operator chose to fight her. So maybe we're gonna have a proper finale to this all. What they did say was that this is gonna be the biggest expansion to Warframe ever, so I expect it to be worth it. One thing you'll notice is they previously said they'd be making changes and tweaks to operators and amps, but none of that is to be found in the dev stream itself. Reb also says that there were parts where she wasn't sure what to say, and it being a minefield as she didn't want to give spoilers, so I'm expecting there to be massive game mechanic changes coming with the new war. If you remember, each of the previous cinematic quests had something like this. Second Dream unlocked operators, War Within remastered and unlocked Focus 2.0 schools as well as giving us amps. Sacrifice gave us Purple Space Mom, Umbra, Sentience, a ton of in-game lore, and a lead up to the helmet system with Deimos. There is absolutely no way New War isn't going to drop with another game-changing mechanic that adds another layer to our gameplay, if not our arsenal. I'm excited to see what happens to Era, as well as how we confront Space Mom, but here's another thing to pay attention to in the trailer. Nova actually throws her portal backwards to get Rhino over to her. This isn't in the game right now. Remember how Meg could carry her polarize, or was it her magnetize in the way that you see in the Warframe new opening cutscene? And then if I add it into the game, this one should be easy, and you can even portal enemies to you this way, which could be pretty interesting and funky. Tap portal to use it like it currently is, but hold it instead to have it portal from where you aim back to you. This would be super handy in team play as well. Please, DE, make this possible. Besides that, they haven't really shown us anything else, so we're gonna just have to wait for it to drop. They also teased Harrow Prime, but didn't give an official date, so I can only assume he is dropping the new war on the 15th, because last week they did say it was the last big update until the new war. If anything, it's actually a good thing it is dropping one full week before Christmas week, as we probably learned from Orphix Venom last year and Railjack released the year before that. Dropping a massive mainline then going on vacation immediately afterwards doesn't spell that well for bugs. Harrow Prime is dropping with Scourge Prime. We do know the stats. It got crit chance, crit damage buffs, a small reload buff, and slight buffs to the base damage with an innate corrosive typing. These crit buffs are actually enough to finally make it crit viable, especially if you run it with Avenger and Galvanized Scope, since it is a raw damage type of gun. This will let it reach 87% critical chance with Arcane Avenger. For being the fastest firing spear gun of all, 87% is more than fair. This means you can now slot a hybrid setup and rip enemies apart. It does have innate corrosive, so viral corrosive will be pretty deadly. Harrow and his Prime are receiving buffs. Condemn, his first ability, will now scale properly with range. It will also have a slight radial cast around yourself irrespective of where you aim, and range modding similar to Proteus Blaze Artillery to make sure anything directly around you will also be CC'd. Penance will also gain a burst of healing on cast. Thurible will also charge faster, meaning you will be able to get in and play sooner, as all Harrow rotations start by casting your 3 to channel how much energy you will get from kills. These are just really good quality of life changes to his kit, but perhaps the biggest one is he is going to get an innate preparation effect. This is the mod that gives you some energy at the start of any mission as well as when you die. Normally, you would have to decide between shorter missions slotting this mod and longer missions where you need to save the slot for something else and more specialized, but this is no longer an issue on Harrow. He will just get it built in directly. For base stat changes, they aren't that significant. Armor hasn't changed, it's still 175. Energy base seems to have increased from 100 to 125, meaning at max rank you get that odd 188 instead of 150. This is actually a noticeable bonus, as Harrow always had some difficulty starting his rotation off due to the lower energy bar. But with built-in preparation and a bar bump, it will completely fix these problems. Health has not changed, remaining maxed at 300. Shield has amped up to 600 instead of 450, and this is actually a noticeable bump unlike other Warframes, because it gives you an extra bit of free base duration scaling on Penance, since that scales off at how much shield you removed. This also means Harrow Prime can reach a higher maximum duration on Penance than Vanilla Harrow, because he can reach a higher maximum shield value. And his polarities, we have no idea. They didn't show us, but I would expect 2 new polarities, as this is the case for most new Prime Warframes these days. His original has a D and a dash, so maybe we'll get another dash and a V? I don't know, but expect 4 polarities on him. We did not see footage on Knell Prime, so there is no news on whether or not that is coming. Typically, all primes will ship with 2 primed weapons. It could also be a melee instead, and my thoughts would be Pennant, but it would be a little bit early since Pennant is more of a recent weapon, but it is thematically accurate. Yet, it does come from Railjack as well, so honestly, we don't know. These are just little extra things DE left out. And Caliban. Oh, Caliban. I expect him to ship with the new war. They did not say if he was going to be available in shop. I predict he may be a story frame, just like Umbra was. The reason for this is them confirming he is a sentient Warframe hybrid. He was literally cleaved in half and made whole again. I feel like he's going to play a bigger role in the story of how the new war unfolds, and also because Caliban is an actual character in Shakespeare's play The Tempest, and if you've been paying attention to the lore in Warframe lately, they seem to really like this play. He's probably going to be tied to whatever new mechanics we will gain from the new war. Not necessarily required to use it, but narrative driven, he will be related to it and the unlocking process, and therefore this is the reason I think he will not be available in the store. That said, I could be wrong too, but just the fact that this is the first time in recent history of any dev streams with a new frame reveal for the final version where a new frame isn't stated to be available in the store suggests that there is an underlying narrative here. We did get to see his new abilities, and he's really shiny. I'm wondering if that shoulder piece of his will be removable for fashion, or if it's going to be built into it with nothing else we can do. Mounting shoulder pieces could get really awkward, just like Hero Prime's super bulky pieces. We also did get to see a little bit of his abilities, but really only one of them was shown on stream. Pretty sure this one was Lethal Progeny. It lets you spawn up to 3 Conculists. I don't know if they can move, as they were completely static in the showcase, as Conculists are the melee variants compared to the Batalists, which shoot, so I'd normally expect these to move around and actively engage your enemies. They apparently repair Caliban's shields when he's not in combat. This is probably going to be a reduced delay for shield regeneration that is completely separate from the hidden stat of the normal shield regeneration delay, kind of like Baruch's mechanics, where it takes 0.5 seconds for him not attacking to be considered passive for his kit. His other 3 abilities were not shown on the dev stream, but are listed on the new war support page, so if you want a link for that, that's down in the description as well as the pinned comment. His one is Razor Gyre, which seems to turn you into a Conculist. You hold fire to spin like a top and aim to dash at them. If you hit enemies tagged by your 2 with this, it makes a big boom. His 2 is called Sentient Wrath, and it's basically a ground pound shockwave that lifts enemies that aren't killed and does a unique dot. This also primes enemies for your 1, like I said. I think this is going to be his helmet ability, as it is the only one on his kit that doesn't require a part of his frame identity, like his Lethal Progeny in the Conculus, or a physical part of him, such as his 1 spinning around like a top. Fusion Strike is his 4, which claims to converge 3 streams of energy to 1 point for another massive boom. Apparently it will leave an area that armor strips afterwards. I don't know if that's going to calculate before or after the boom, but this means enemies that survive will be full stripped and you can easily clean them up, as well as using Helmet to drag new enemies into the area. So you basically put together a Nuke and XAKU's Gaze Aura all in 1 slot. Maybe a spam your ult build? It sounds like a Soul Gate that actually does damage. Also, the converging 3 streams might suggest that if you have the Lethal Progeny present with your Conculus, maybe you'll be able to channel or chain the beams through them, but there is no mention of this, so I'm not sure. Finally, to play the new war, you need to have a Railjack and Necromech. You also need to finish the prelude to the new war quest, which is a collective of the Chimera Prologue, the Era mini quest that requires you to shatter the Sentient Shard and the Sentient Anomaly Murex ships to activate, and the Maker, the final prologue cutscene you can just watch once you reach the 3rd part of the prelude. Once you do that, you'll be able to start the new war quest once it drops. The game will ask you to confirm if you want to start, because it will take several hours to complete according to DE, and you will not be able to access other parts of the game during this time, just like with Second Dream and War Within. The update itself is slated to be 5 GB on PC and slightly smaller on the consoles, but I expect this to be larger once it unpacks, as you gotta remember these updates are compressed, and I predict it's probably gonna come out to about 15 GB or once it's finally ready to go, which means they're adding a massive amount of data onto the game. I'm excited to see what's going to turn out from this, and that's it from the dev stream. What do you guys think of the reveal so far? Are you ready for the new war in 2 weeks? Remember, if you want more info on the new war and Caliban, for now you can check the support page with the link in the description and pinned comment. If this is your first time watching, feel free to leave a like, or better yet subscribe. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. 79.5% of you are not subscribed. I'm trying my best to get you new information out always as soon as possible. Like I've done with covering the Sisters of Parvos, Plaguestar, and now even the new war update. Stick around if you want to see interesting memes and builds on a nearly daily basis. Let's see what the new war is going to be all about in 2 weeks. You don't want to miss out on any of that info, do you? That'll be it for this video. Thank you all for watching, and see you all next time.